What's going on, everybody? This is Sean of Raw Select Music. Today I have a whole slew of records that I wanted to talk about. Been listening to them quite a bit as of late, and as such, I wanted to share my thoughts and opinions of them and let you know why I recommend them and why I think they're worth checking out. So I've got 7 records to go through, so I'm not going to waste any more time on an introduction, and let's just get into it. Got Carlos Nino, Bliss on Dear Oneness, released on Leaving Records in 2019. This was a record that I was kind of surprised that I was as excited for it as, well, I was. Because Carlos Nino tends to make sort of jazz-influenced, new age ambient music, and that description doesn't really seem like a kind of record that I should be getting so excited for. But late last year, there was a track on here that I really liked called Forest Pulse, and it had this beautiful mix of natural sounds, ambient synthscapes, and just a nice little shuffling rhythm to go along with it that really got me interested to hear what else Carlos Nino had in store on this record. And it's really, in concept, not that much different from his 2016 record, It's All Happening. It still has the mix of natural sounds, organic instrumentation, and synthscapes, as well as the man's love of odd percussion. But the stuff on here is so interesting and so enveloping. I pretty much love every single moment on here. It opens beautifully with this nice natural soundscape and a nice mix of found sounds as well as nature sounds and ambient synths, and it has so many moments that are just so relaxing and so melodic and so ambient that they're really easy to get lost in. Highly recommend that you listen to this record with a nice set of headphones to get the real scope of everything that's going on here. And it's not all easy listening music. There's actually quite a few amelodic and a few musically tense and dramatic moments on here. The second track with Miguel Atwood Ferguson starts off very beautifully and serene, and then all of a sudden starts becoming dramatic and tense, and it really makes for a far more engaging than you would normally associate with a lot of ambient music. Other highlights include, and I have to look at track list in order to get this one right, we have Ojai CBD 072918 with Jameer Williams and Sam Gendel, which is this really cool free jazz track that has all this building dramatic tension to it that all culminates into this musical orgasm. I especially love Sam Gendel's sax work on here. Very amelodic, but at the same time, it's never off-putting. It's quickly become one of my favorite songs that I've heard this year. And the final track on here, Ba Du Bip 032215, is a slowed down edit of a live performance featuring a bunch of modern jazz all-stars. And it's another highlight track. Even though I don't really know what the original sounds like, I really like the vibe and sound of this song. And in general, I really like the vibe of this entire record. The middle track on the second side, Reverb Echo System, doesn't really stand out in my mind, but at the same time, it's not an offensive track, and it still makes for a very immersive listen from front to back. Honestly, my only complaint with this record is that it's not a full album. The actual album has 3 more tracks that weren't included on this release, and that's kind of frustrating. But for what's actually on the record, it's all top-notch stuff. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more out there, I definitely recommend that you give this guy a listen, and this is definitely one of my favorite records that I've heard recently. We have A Quest Called Tribe by Medline and Stefane Carricondo, I'm so sorry, is you might expect. It is a collection of jazzy instrumentals of classic Tribe Called Quest songs. And originally, I wasn't that excited about this record. I'd put off buying it for a very long time. And my initial needle drop on the record didn't really do that much for me. It just felt like, hey, here's another set of jazz covers of hip-hop classics. But the more I listened to it, there's some really intricate and really cool compositions on here. It takes several unexpected twists with some of the breakdowns that he includes in the tracks. A lot of the songs start off really nicely with the familiar samples that you know and love from your classic Tribe Called Quest tracks, and then it'll take it into a very different direction and really shows off not only the musical chops of this one-man project, it also shows off a level of creativity that I wasn't expecting. There's a lot of really cool arrangements on here, a lot of different instrumentation, and it also surprisingly has some extremely loose and funky drums that I think even Questlove himself would admire. This ended up being a project that I fell more in love with than I originally expected to. For those of you who are wondering what the collaborative aspect of it is the illustrations included with the record. There's supposed to be a poster that went along with it, but apparently that got left out of my copy of the record, so that kind of sucks. But overall, I'm really happy with this project. If you're looking for a unique take on some Tribe Called Quest classics as well as some deep cuts, definitely give this one a listen. This is one of the better jazz covers of classic hip-hop tracks that I've heard in a while. So yeah, solid pickup. Cover two records at once. We got this one from Denmark Vesey, Martin Lucid Dream, and we got Jamal Salam meets Wani, Past Lives. Both of these are street corner music records. Both of them feature one record of raps and one record of instrumentals. Both of them feature a lot of the same sort of dusty, psychedelic samples, and both of them feature some similarly psychedelic lyrics. Jamal Salam definitely goes a little bit more in the Danny Brown, nasally, shouty style of vocals, but I find him far more compelling than Danny Brown. And Denmark Vesey just has like this really cool, laid-back style to his vocals that I really like. It's sometimes soulful, it's sometimes a little bit more cerebral. In fact, both of these records are pretty cerebral, and this one has a bit of a running theme about mortality and afterlife, and I really like both of these records. Cool instrumentals, great raps. I don't know what else to say about them other than that. If you're looking for some really good left field underground hip-hop, can't go wrong with either of these two. We have Karriem Riggins' Head Nod Suite for Stone's Throw, released back in 2017, I believe. This was a record that I was really reluctant to pick up for the longest time. I was kind of lukewarm on his Alone Together double album that he put out back in 2012, and I think most of that had to do with the brevity of a lot of the songs on there, and also I didn't really get much mileage out of it in terms of being able to play it out in DJ sets. cents. But I saw it in Tokyo back in February and it was really, really cheap, so my curiosity got the best of me and decided to give this one a listen. And I'm really, really glad that I picked this up, because in terms of the overall quality of the tracks on here, sure, a lot of the songs are still really, really short, but there's no shortage of ideas. In fact, I think this is way more inspired and way more fun to listen to than that record. Tons of great head nodders on here, as the name would imply. Definitely a wide mix of different sounds on here. He employs some traditional, straight up instrumentation tracks. There's some sample based tracks. There's some more electronic stuff on here. And he does a great job of making sure that no idea is repeated over the 29 songs that are on this record. Sure, some of them are a little bit more memorable than others, but in terms of a set of instrumentals from Karriem Riggins, I really, really like this record. Kind of laid back, it's kind of funky, it's got some really nice boom bap moments on it, tons of neck breakers on here, tons of more laid back mellow stuff on here. It pretty much runs the gamut of everything that you would come to expect from a Karriem Riggins production. And I honestly gotta say, I really, really dig this release, and I think this is probably one of Stone's Throw's more underappreciated releases from the last couple of years. So if you didn't pick this one up, highly recommend that you do so, because it's so good. Lastly, let's finish up on two instrumental releases that I picked up back in February. One, we have an obscure Twami record that I didn't know about called Masekela, and then we got one from Owlie released in 2014 on Paxco Records, 1991. Again, not much to say about these. Both really good, largely sample-based instrumental hip-hop records. This one tends to be a lot more laid back and focus more on clever uses of old classic hip-hop and R&B samples. Specifically, the last track on here, Oh Well, has a very familiar vocal and melody that I'm sure you'll recognize instantly. And Twami's record seems to be focused more on instrumental chops, even though there are a couple of rap snippets that pop up on this record. But in all honesty, this one is definitely a little bit more laid back in nature, and this one is all about putting your neck in a neck brace. Seriously, there's some excellent head nodding shit on this record. Both records feature expert level sample chops, tons of snappy drums, a wide variety of different samples, and both are excellent instrumental hip-hop releases. So if you haven't picked up either of these two records, definitely recommend that you give them a listen, and great records to add to any collection of instrumental hip-hop records. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching. If you've checked out any of these records before, let me know what you thought about them down in the comments. If you want to hear any of these records for yourself, please head over to my WordPress or Steemit blogs, because that's where I will be posting any music links to any of the records that I talk about on this channel. Make sure you head over to my Mixcloud so you can check out Raw Select Radio, the audio component of this YouTube channel, as well as make sure you be on the lookout for any upcoming live streams that I might be doing. I've mostly been just archiving the stuff that I've been doing over on my personal Facebook page, but in the future I am hoping to start getting live streams up on this YouTube channel as well, so be on the lookout for that in the future. As always, links down in the description. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. So until then, peace out!